and then meet in your chair. Okay, so we're going to continue to focus on balance like we did last week. Um, and we can use our practice to kind of build up to that. Okay, but it's always worth acknowledging that when we're working on balance, and I was saying this in my class today or this morning, was um, don't get too hung up on having your foot all the way off the floor or how high your leg is. Sometimes, a lot of the time, we're working with how the foot meets the floor, and we have to adapt to our ankle strength and mobility, and also how we pronate. So if we've got like a collapsed arch or something like that, then all of that has to be accounted for when we're doing balance. So even if you're doing heel lifts, it's not like a failure, it's just we're meeting yourself in the moment, working with your specific anatomy right now to help you kind of build that resilience and strength. Okay. So with that in mind, we'll go ahead and get started. So find a comfortable position in your chair and we'll start to draw the awareness in. That might be taking the eyes away from the screen, or you can close them. And we'll start to notice the breath. Allowing the mind to be busy if it is, okay? Just making space for that sort of continuous fluctuation of thought. And becoming more aware of the points in the body that feel supported. Feet on the floor, thighs and hips in the chair. Lovely. Let's start to move a little bit. Wiggle into fingers and toes. Good. And then just starting to lift the heels a little bit as well. So just warming up into the feet and the ankles. Okay. Then relaxing that down. Okay. Maybe extending one leg to move into the knees. And then draw that back down. Now we can do the other side. Gather back in. Lovely. All right, from here we want to move into the hips. So you might have to move forward a little bit depending on your chair, but just taking one knee out to the side and then the other. Bring it back in. Lovely. Okay, and then becoming aware of the trunk, so your ribs, and lifting up through the crown of the head. Nice and tall. And then let's take a big shoulder roll. So just one, shrug up towards the ears and just slide the shoulder blades down and back. Excellent. All right, from here, just looking over to your right shoulder. And then we'll take the chin down towards the chest and swoop to the other side. One breath to move and one breath to lift the head. And let's make this one our last. And then bring the head back into the center. Excellent. All right. So now we can take the arms down next to the hips and do a big sweep as we breathe, coming up as far as you feel comfortable. And as the breath naturally turns, we take them down. Beautiful. Good. Two more. So as we lift the arms up, you still want to feel quite soft on the tops of the shoulders. I'm going to take my body warmer off. Okay. So the arms are rising, but your shoulder blades are sort of sliding down your back. So we're trying to avoid that shrugging up toward the ears, keeping it nice and spacious. Beautiful. And then taking that back down. Lovely. All right, let's do that one more time. And back down. Excellent. All right, now taking the right hand to the side of your chair, and we'll lean into that a little bit. So leaning to the right, then you can either keep your hand down, bring the hand to the back of the head, That's it, or you can reach over. So this is a good option for lengthening through the side waist, but also lifting and opening the chest. Rising up through the center, lifting up through the crown of the head, and then we'll do the other side. Anchor that left hand first, lean left, and then we can take the arm up. Good. All right, now let's come back into the center and we'll do that same action, but we'll turn it into a flow. So you're anchoring one side for one breath, the arm rises, one breath to center, and then repeat on the other side. Good, so flowing with your breath a few times. Lovely. Let's make this one our last. And then come back into the center. Excellent. Hands together at the heart, Anjali Mudra. So like prayer hands. And then we'll settle the hands into the breastbone. Again, reaching up through the crown of the head and just check in with your shoulders again. So maybe sliding them down a little bit. So we're open through the chest. Take a big breath in. And on the exhale, we're twisting to the right. Anchor your sit bones into your chair. And then breathe as you come back into the center. So we don't want a whole lot of movement in the hips and the legs as we twist. Staying within your appropriate range of motion. Good. Excellent. That looks really good. Just checking that the nose is just above the fingers as you continue to move. And we'll do one more. And back into the center. Lovely. Okay, let's release that down and just shake that out a little bit. Okay, now we're going to work on engagement of the core a little bit. So if you become aware of your belly button and imagine you've got your belt on, it's got 10 notches, and we'll tighten to the third notch. Okay, so take a big breath in. On that exhale, just draw the belly button in. Okay, continuing to breathe, keeping that engagement there. Sorry, I can see we're getting the delivery. I'm sorry. And then we're still working with that pelvic floor. Okay, lovely. Now we're going to add some leg lifts here. So we're reaching up through the crown of the head, and then on the exhale, lift that right knee up. Good. And then come back down on the next breath. Then doing the other side, lift on one breath and then lower on the next. Good. That's it. So keep going. Moving with the breath. Staying nice and upright. And again, just check in with your core. Still want to keep that engagement there. When we'll draw the belly button in, that switches on this transverse abdominis at the bottom. That helps with just support everything. Okay, we can work with the pelvic floor too. Drawing that in. Let's make this one our last. And then bring that down to the floor. Okay, from here, lengthen your legs out. I'm going to turn side on. But we're coming into our downward dog. Just check in with your knees here, especially if you have that sort of range to overextend the knees. If that's the case for you, maybe keeping the feet flat on the floor and a soft bend in the knees. Otherwise, you can fully extend the legs and lift the toes. Then check in with your spine, and we're just tipping forward. So the key here is to just try not to come into this rounded shoulder position. We want to stay nice and upright, broad through the chest, and tip forward. Maybe take the arms up if you feel stable in your chair. Completely optional there. Lovely. Okay, now let's sit back. Take the knees or the feet in, bend the knees. Okay? And lift that right leg up. So you're grabbing hold of your thigh. Again, still upright. And we'll point the toes and flex the knees. So you're lifting the leg. Then flex the foot and take it back down. Point the toes and lift, flex, and draw it back down. Okay, let's do 3 more of those. And last one. Okay, lovely. Swap sides. Check in with your spine first, check in with your core, so nice and stable. Then we lift that left leg up, and we'll do another 5 to 6 quad extensions. So we're doing a lot of different things here. So mobilizing the ankle and the knee, but we're also engaging, warming up the quadriceps and the hamstrings. As we flex the foot, the calves are working as well. So it's a great way to warm up the lower body. Last one. And then bring that foot down to the floor. Okay, good. Now we're bringing our hands together at the heart, coming into Anjali Mudra. Okay, we're going to add some heel lifts. So as that right heel lifts, as the right heel lifts, we're sending the arms up. Okay, and then we're dropping down into cactus as we drop the heel to the floor. Good, so dropping those elbows, keeping them bent. And then sending them back up, we're lifting that left heel. And then dropping back down. Good. Carry on with the breath here. And let's make this one our last. Good, and then we can release the arms down. Excellent. All right, now let's come up to stand. You can do that however you feel comfortable. If you want the challenge of not using your hands, just cross them over your chest and see if you can press to stand. We want to stand behind the chair. Okay, and if you grab your prop, so your scarf or band or whatever you've got, and then bring it around your right foot. Okay, anchor that right foot into the floor. Take the left one just back slightly, toes pointed out. And then reaching up through the crown of the head. From here, hinge at the hips. Keeping that front leg long, again, without locking that knee. Okay, and you can use your chair. You can bring your forearm to the top of the chair. You can even do this with your hip against the wall if you want a little bit of extra support. If the band doesn't really serve a purpose for you, you can just let it go, okay? If you still feel that deep stretch, what it can do is especially giving us an awareness of the foot as we prepare for the balance. So we feel that sensation of, you might feel that heaviness as you're connecting the foot into the floor. You can also maybe feel the lift of the band at the instep. All right, let's slowly rise. So step the foot forward, okay? And then we're coming to a mountain pose. So check that your feet are in line, about hip width. Holding onto the band in the right hand, and then reaching up to the crown of the head. Check in with the shoulders. So tops of the shoulders relaxed, open through the chest. All right, now we'll try the heel lifts again. So the right heel comes up and then drops back down. Sorry, we're just going to focus on the right side, okay? Hold on to your chair if you'd like. just lifting that right heel up. And as you do, notice if there's a shift in weight, even a small one, into that left leg. Keep the left knee soft. So again, you're not locking. That's it. And now hold it. Lift the heel and keep it there. Then we want to become more aware of the pelvis. So if we tend to send the belly button and the ribs forward, we want to draw that back in. The pelvis is really neutral. And now we're working with our glutes. Okay? So squeeze your bum cheeks as you've got that right heel lifted. Okay, and then we're going to drop the heel down. Hold on to your chair. And then sink the hips down and back. So you're coming into a chair pose. All right, press the floor away to come back up to stand. Lovely. All right, let's swap sides. So band around the left foot this time. Okay, right foot back. Check in with the spine first and then hinge at the hips. Lovely. Again, becoming aware of your ribs. If you feel like you're quite far forward or your gaze is up, we want to draw those ribs in and bring the gaze down slightly so the back of the neck is nice and long. All right, good. And then press back up to stand. Bring the feet together. And then we'll start in with our heel lift. So left foot this time. Heels just rising here. That's it. Again, feeling that weight shift into the right. You might have a difference between your right and left sides as well. That's fine. So just adapting the movement, your positioning to support yourself there. Okay, and then this time we hold. So heel lift is up. Pay attention to the pelvis. Draw the belly button in. Notice those levels of effort or ease. Does this feel challenging? If you've got that wobble there, that it's challenging your coordination? Or have you got a certain level of ease, or maybe a bit of both? Okay, and then we're going to drop that heel down and then drop the hips and come down into a chair pose. And if you want both hands, you could just drop your band, hold on to your chair. All right, now let's press up to stand and we can get rid of the band. Okay, we'll use it in a minute, so not too far away. Okay, right, now we're going to try something different. When we come down into a chair pose in yoga, we have our toes pointed forward and our feet are hip width, right? And quite often as we get down into this, we can really feel it in our quadriceps, working other things too, but that's where we feel the burn. All right, we're going to take more of a standard squat. So come slightly wider than your hips. Okay, just checking you've got some kind of support there if you need it. Toes turned out. And then rising up through the crown of the head, and then send the hips down and back. Okay, so again, we're sitting down and back like you're aiming for your chair. But this time, check your knees are moving out over your toes. And this change in position with our legs can help us to switch those glutes on. So you're squeezing your bum muscles, and then we can press to stand. Okay, we're going to do this a few more times, really thinking about the glutes. So squeeze them as you come down, and then press back to stand. Moving with the breath. Let's do a few more. Let's do one more. And we press to stand. Lovely. Okay, let's bring the feet together. Now we're going to challenge our balance. So grab your band or your strap, scarf. We'll start around the right foot. And I would suggest, especially if you did this last week and you were finding it challenging, put something small and sturdy on the floor that you can just pop your foot onto. So if you have a yoga brick, feel free to use it. You could also use a firm cushion, as long as it's not going to make you wobble more. Okay? Something to rest your foot on. Okay, so imagine we're climbing the stairs here. We're lifting that right heel up. Shift the weight into your left. So starting to soften into the knee. Draw the belly button in. Okay? Again, if you've got the challenge here, we stay. Otherwise, see if you can float those right toes up off the floor. Got your chair there. So you can keep a hand on it if you want. Okay, and then position the foot forward like you're going to take a step. Okay, so hovering right above your prop or just up off the floor. If you feel comfortable, you can lift your knee higher than this. Otherwise, we're holding it. One more breath. Good, and then see if you can, just nice and slow, bring that foot back down next to the left. Okay, so you might feel that in the hips. Let's just move around a little bit. If it feels like too much today, then please have a seat and we can work with an extended heel lift or a foot float from the chair, okay? Right, otherwise we try it the other side. Take that belt around the left foot. Set your foundation first. So both feet on the floor, then lifting the left heel. Maybe float the toes. And then move that foot forward like you're going to take the step. Good, staying with it. One more breath. Okay, and then nice and slow, bring that foot back down. Well done. Okay, so set the belt off to the side. I'm going to do one more standing balance, well, not balance, sorry, standing position, and then we'll move down. So walk your feet back, send your hips out over your heels, and just take a big stretch again through the backs of the legs. You might feel that in your low back. If you'd like, you can even bend one knee and then the other here. Stretch for the chest and shoulders as well. And then when you're ready, we'll start to rise. So lift from the back of the shoulder blades first, and then walk those feet forward. Okay, let's have a seat. Coming down into the chair. Sitting forward if it feels comfortable, otherwise you can use the back for support. And we'll start to move into the hips again. So one knee out at a time. Last one. Come back into the center. All right. So then we'll take our right ankle to the top of the left thigh. So we're coming into a figure four. If this feels too high, then use your cushions or whatever you've got to stack that right foot on and open the knee to hold it. While we're here, let's just add in some flow. So taking the arms down next to the hips, and as you breathe, just sweeping the arms up in a circle and down on the next. Good. See if you can really sync your breath with movement here. One breath up, one breath down. Good. All right, one more. And down. Lovely. Okay. Let's take that leg in, swap sides. On your supportive leg, check that your ankle and your knee are in line, okay? So we're not sort of out that way or open through the hip. We went right in towards the midline of the body. And then we're focusing on the left side opening. Good. This time, as we're continuing to hold this, we can work a little bit with our scapular stability. So we're going to take the arms up overhead for a big reach and come back into our cactus arms. Good. So you're bending the elbows. Lovely. Now see if you can open the chest a little bit. Good. And then come back into that neutral start position. I'll tell you what, why don't we do a big shoulder circle and draw the shoulder blades down towards the back pockets. Lovely. So they're relaxed down. Now from this position, we're going to open the chest and draw those arms back a little bit. See if you can feel the squeeze between your shoulder blades. And then moving forward, maybe touching the palms. And then opening nice and wide. Good. And then to the front. Good. One more time. And to the front. Excellent. You can settle the hands, Anjali Mudra. Taking a pause. And then we'll take that knee in. Lovely. Okay, so we're ready for we're kind of preparing for our relaxation. So if you scoot back, let's just do one more big stretch. Just full body stretch. You can lengthen through the legs, lengthen through the arms. And then we'll gather in. Find your comfy position. Any props that you want to support you so you can feel warm, comfortable. And we'll just close our eyes. You can drop your gaze away from the screen and we'll tune back into the breath. You might want to start with some deeper breaths, so just notice your natural rhythm. Again, feel where the body is supported. Just taking a moment to acknowledge your effort in the practice today. And see if you can invite in a little bit more ease. Maybe that means soften the shoulders a little bit. Relaxing into the hips and thighs. So meeting yourself with kindness and patience. Now becoming more aware of your arms and legs. Notice fingers and toes. Flow of your breath. And the space in the room around you. When you're ready, we'll take the arms down next to the hips. Just gently opening the eyes, allowing them to adjust, and we'll do one final circle up overhead. Bringing the palms together and then draw down in front of the heart. Thank you. Okay.